The message arrived on Earth's quantum communications array at precisely 300 UTC. It cut through the usual background chatter of routine space traffic, its desperate tone clear even before translation protocols engage. The Meridians, masters of bioengineering and peaceful explorers of the cosmos, were dying. Admiral Sarah Chen stood before the United Earth Defense Council, her weathered face illuminated by the holographic display of the Meridian transmission. The alien ambassador's crystalline features showed clear signs of stress, fractures spreading across their normally pristine surface. "They've lost 6 colony worlds in the past month," Chen reported, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "The Vorax Empire is systematically destroying everything in their path. Their biological weapons are effective." The council chamber fell silent. Humanity had known about both species for years, monitoring their activities from afar. The Meridians were known for their advanced biotechnology and peaceful nature. The Vorax, on the other hand, were aggressive expansionists who viewed all other life as resources to be consumed. The Meridians never developed weapons of war, Council President Okoro noted, his deep voice resonating through the chamber. Their entire civilization focused on creation rather than destruction. Now that choice may doom them. "That's why they're reaching out to us," Chen replied, bringing up tactical data on the holographic display. "They've noticed our ships. They've seen how we've adapted to environments that would kill most species. They're calling us Deathworlders." A murmur rippled through the council. Humanity had earned that name, though few aliens understood why. Earth, with its high gravity, extreme temperature variations, and countless natural disasters, had forced humanity to become incredibly resilient. What other species saw as brutal conditions, humans saw as home. "The Vorax don't know about us yet," Chen continued. "Their empire expanded in the opposite direction, but they will eventually reach Earth. The Meridian's territory forms a natural buffer zone. So you're suggesting we intervene not just out of altruism, but strategic necessity?" Councillor Zhang asked, leaning forward in her seat. "Exactly." Chen's fingers danced across the holographic controls, showing the projected path of the Vorax expansion. "We've spent the last 50 years preparing for first contact, building our fleet, developing technologies that combine our resilience with advanced alien science. The Meridians are offering to share their biotech knowledge in exchange for our help." President Okoro stood, his expression grave. "The question before this council is clear. Do we reveal ourselves to the wider galaxy by stepping into this conflict? Do we risk human lives to save an alien species?" "If I may, Mr. President," Chen interjected, her voice carrying the weight of decades of military experience. "We've always wondered how humanity would measure up against advanced alien civilizations. The Vorax are powerful, yes, but they evolved on a world of perfect conditions. They've never faced a species that thrives in environments they consider deadly." The council chamber erupted in discussion. Debates about intervention had raged since the first alien signals were detected, but now theory had become reality. Humanity had to choose: remain hidden and watch another species face extinction, or step onto the galactic stage as warriors in defense of peace. Admiral Chen waited patiently as the council members argued. She already knew their decision, not because of political maneuvering or strategic calculations, but because of something deeper in human nature. Humanity had grown up fighting against a world that seemed designed to kill them. They had learned to protect not just themselves, but others. It was encoded in their DNA, written in every technological advancement and cultural milestone. When President Okoro finally called for a vote, the result was unanimous. Humanity would answer the Meridian's call. "Send the response," Okoro commanded, his voice firm with resolve. "Tell them the Deathworlders are coming, and may whatever gods the Vorax believe in have mercy on them, because we will not." As Chen left the council chamber to prepare Earth's fleet, she allowed herself a grim smile. The Vorax had no idea what they were about to face. They thought themselves apex predators, but they had never encountered a species forged in the crucible of a death world. Humanity was about to show the galaxy why evolution on Earth had produced not just survivors, but warriors who fought not for conquest, but for the right of all species to exist in peace. The message was sent, brief and powerful. Hold position. Maintain what defenses you can. The Deathworlders are coming to help. And we bring with us the fury of 1,000 storms. The orbital shipyards above Earth hummed with unprecedented activity. Massive vessels, their hulls gleaming with nano-reinforced titanium alloys, underwent final preparations. These weren't the sleek, aesthetic ships of the Meridians or the organic-looking vessels of the Vorax. Human ships were built like the species that created them, sturdy, adaptable, and ready for anything. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood at the viewport of the UES Thermopylae, watching as crews loaded the last of the supplies. Her ship would lead the first battle group into Meridian space. At nearly 2 kilometers long, the Thermopylae represented the peak of human military engineering, a perfect fusion of power and survivability. Final systems check complete. Captain, reported Commander David Chen, her XO. All departments report ready for deep space deployment. Maya nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the stars beyond. What's the status on the new adaptations? The Meridian biointerface systems have been successfully integrated with our neural networks. Engineering says the synthesis exceeded expectations. We're seeing a 40% increase in reaction times and a 60% improvement in system response. This was humanity's greatest advantage, their ability to take alien technology and improve it in ways its original creators never imagined. The Meridian's biological computers were elegant and efficient, but they had never thought to combine them with the aggressive parallel processing of human neural networks. In the hangar bay below, crews loaded the last of the Valkyrie strike fighters. These small, agile craft were uniquely human in design, capable of operating in any environment from hard vacuum to atmospheric pressures that would crush most alien vessels. Their pilots were products of the latest in human enhancement: reinforced skeletal structures, enhanced gravitational tolerance, and neural interfaces that made the fighters feel like extensions of their own bodies. Message from Fleet Command, Chen announced. Admiral Chen is ready to address the fleet. The holographic display flickered to life, showing the Admiral's stern features. All ships, this is Fleet Command. In less than 6 hours, we will make our first FTL jump into Meridian space. This will be humanity's first major engagement with an alien force. The Vorax believe themselves to be invincible because they've never faced an enemy that could match their brutality. They're about to learn that humanity's strength comes not from brutality, but from our ability to endure and adapt. Maya watched her crew as they listened. Humans from every nation on Earth, each bringing their own unique perspectives and skills to the mission. Some had grown up in the crushing pressures of deep-sea colonies, others in the thin air of mountain cities. All of them were products of a species that had conquered every environment their world had thrown at them. The Meridians called us Deathworlders, Admiral Chen continued, but they don't truly understand what that means. We don't just survive in conditions that would kill other species. We thrive in them. We've turned our world's challenges into advantages. Now we'll show the galaxy what that really means. The Admiral's words struck a chord. Humanity had spent generations preparing for this moment, not through choice but necessity. Earth's harsh conditions had forced them to develop technologies and adaptations that other species found impossible or impractical. Engineering reports the gravity generators are calibrated to Vorax standard, Chen reported. We can switch between their normal operating range and Earth normal at will. Maya smiled grimly. This was another advantage. The Vorax had evolved on a low-gravity world and built their entire civilization around those conditions. They had never faced an enemy that could function effectively in gravitational forces that would crush their own troops. All hands, battle stations, Maya ordered. Begin final countdown to FTL jump. Throughout the ship, crews moved with practiced efficiency. The Thermopylae's massive engines powered up, their unique hybrid design combining conventional fusion drives with experimental quantum propulsion. Another human innovation. Their ships could maintain full combat capabilities even if one system failed. As the countdown reached its final minutes, Maya thought about the Meridians waiting for rescue and the Vorax who thought themselves unstoppable. Neither species truly understood what they were about to witness. Humanity had spent its entire existence preparing for this moment, not through conscious choice, but through the relentless pressure of evolution on a world that never stopped trying to kill them. FTL drive spooling up, Chen reported. All ships in the battle group report ready. Maya took her command chair, feeling the subtle vibrations of the mighty ship through its neural interface. Send final confirmation to Fleet Command. The Thermopylae battle group is ready to show the galaxy why Earth is called a death world. The stars outside began to blur as the FTL drive engaged. Humanity was going to war, not for conquest or glory, but to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. They would show the galaxy that the most dangerous predators weren't those who evolved to kill, but those who evolved to survive anything. The Meridian home system blazed with weapons fire. The Vorax attack fleet had arrived expecting another easy victory against the defenseless Meridians. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. Captain Rodriguez watched from the Thermopylae's command center as the battle unfolded. The Vorax ships were biological marvels, grown rather than built, their organic hulls capable of regenerating damage. But they had never faced weapons designed by a species that understood predation on a cellular level. Multiple Vorax capital ships on approach. Commander Chen reported, his voice steady. They're launching their biotorpedoes. Maya allowed herself a grim smile. Activate countermeasures. Let's show them why attacking a Death World species was a mistake. The biotorpedoes, living weapons that had devastated so many civilizations, streaked toward the human fleet. But humanity had studied these weapons carefully through Meridian intelligence. The torpedoes were alive, and like all living things, they had weaknesses. Release the phage swarms, Maya ordered. Thousands of microscopic robots, based on Earth's own viruses, streamed from the human ships. The Vorax watched in confusion as their biotorpedoes began to disintegrate, consumed from within by humanity's synthesis of biological and mechanical warfare. Enemy fleet is adjusting formation, Chen announced. They're moving to engage at close range. This was what Maya had been waiting for. All ships, execute Maneuver Thunder 7. Activate gravity modulators. The human fleet's formation shifted, seeming to break apart in disarray. The Vorax commanders, their tactical algorithms evolved over centuries of conquest, saw an opportunity and pressed their attack. They didn't understand that they were falling into a trap designed by predators. As the Vorax fleet moved into the kill zone, the human ships activated their gravity weapons, zones of crushing force, equivalent to the deepest oceans of Earth, materialized throughout the battlefield. The organic hulls of the Vorax ships, never designed to withstand such pressures, began to buckle and tear. They're trying to retreat, Chen reported with satisfaction. Their biological systems can't handle the gravitational stress. But Maya wasn't finished. Launch Valkyrie squadrons. Show them what real predators can do. The fighter squadrons streaked from their carrier ships, their human pilots unfazed by the crushing gravitational forces. Each fighter was a marvel of human engineering, combining Earth's most lethal predator with machines designed to amplify their natural advantages. The Vorax had no defense against such tactics. Their ships, powerful as they were, had been designed to fight conventional battles in space. They had never faced an enemy that turned gravity itself into a weapon, never encountered pilots who could think and react faster than their biological computers. Meridian Defense Forces are reporting successful counterattacks on 3 fronts, Chen announced. The Vorax fleet is losing coherence. Through the neural interface, Maya could feel her ship's systems adapting to the battle, learning and evolving just as humanity had always done. The Vorax biological technology was impressive, but it was designed for perfection in optimal conditions. Human technology was designed to work even when everything went wrong. Multiple enemy capital ships are attempting emergency FTL jumps, Chen reported. Their formations are breaking down completely. Maya opened a channel to all human ships. Press the advantage. Don't let them regroup. Show them why Earth's predators don't just kill, we hunt. The battle continued for hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. The Vorax, for all their biological superiority, had never evolved the one trait that made humanity so dangerous: the ability to adapt and overcome any challenge. Their perfect biological systems were failing against human weapons designed to exploit every weakness, human tactics that turned their own strengths against them. As the last Vorax ships fled the system, leaving their broken and crushed vessels behind, Maya received a transmission from the Meridian High Command. The crystalline aliens were literally glowing with amazement. "We knew you were strong," the Meridian leader transmitted. "But this is beyond our understanding. How can you fight like this?" Maya thought about Earth, about the countless generations that had survived everything their world had thrown at them. "We don't fight like this because we want to," she responded. "We fight like this because our world taught us that survival means being ready for anything. The Vorax evolved to be perfect predators, but we evolved to overcome perfect predators." The battle was over, but Maya knew this was just the beginning. The Vorax would return, probably with new biological weapons and adapted tactics. But that was fine. Humanity had spent its entire existence adapting to new threats. They would be ready. As her crew began damage assessment and repair operations, Maya looked out at the battlefield, now littered with the broken remains of Vorax ships. They had called Earth a death world, but they had never understood what that really meant. It wasn't just about surviving in harsh conditions. It was about turning those conditions into advantages, about taking everything that tried to kill you and learning from it. Deep within the UES Thermopyla's research lab, Dr. Sarah Wong studied the captured Vorax biological samples with intense fascination. 3 months had passed since the first battle, and humanity had learned much about their enemy. But it was what they discovered in the past week that would change everything. "Captain Rodriguez, you need to see this," Dr. Wong called out, her eyes never leaving the holographic display of Vorax cellular structure. "We found their weakness." Maya entered the lab, accompanied by Commander Chen. The room was a perfect fusion of human ingenuity and Meridian biotechnology, allowing them to analyze alien biology in ways neither species could achieve alone. "Their entire civilization is built on biological perfection," Dr. Wong explained, manipulating the holographic display. "But that perfection is also their greatest vulnerability. They've engineered themselves into an evolutionary dead end." The display showed the intricate neural networks that controlled Vorax ships and weapons, beautiful in their complexity, but utterly dependent on precise conditions. "They've eliminated redundancy in favor of efficiency," Wong continued. "Their systems can't adapt to sudden environmental changes because they've never needed to." Maya understood immediately. On Earth, life survived through redundancy, through backup systems, and the ability to function even when damaged. The Vorax had evolved beyond that, creating perfect systems that worked flawlessly, until they didn't. "How can we exploit this?" Maya asked, her tactical mind already racing with possibilities. Dr. Wong's smile was almost predatory. "We introduce chaos. Their biological systems are designed to maintain perfect homeostasis. But what happens when you introduce elements that constantly force adaptation?" The plan that emerged was quintessentially human, using their own evolutionary history as a weapon. Earth's history was filled with organisms that survived by forcing others to adapt or die. Now humanity would become the galaxy's agent of change. Admiral Chen approved the strategy immediately. Within weeks, the human fleet had been modified with new weapons, systems that didn't just attack the Vorax ships, but forced them to evolve in real time. It was biological warfare on an evolutionary scale. The next major engagement took place in the Centauri sector. The Vorax arrived with an adapted fleet, their ships now resistant to the gravitational weapons that had proved so devastating in the first battle. But humanity had expected this. All ships, execute Operation Darwin. Maya commanded from the Thermopyla's bridge. Release the evolutionary catalysts. The human fleet launched their new weapons, clouds of engineered microorganisms based on Earth's most resilient life forms. These weren't designed to kill, but to force adaptation. The Vorax ships, their biological systems desperately trying to maintain perfection, began to change. Their fleet coordination is breaking down, Chen reported, watching as the Vorax ships started moving erratically. Their neural networks can't maintain synchronization while adapting. The Vorax had never encountered anything like this. Their biological technology, designed for perfect efficiency, couldn't handle being forced to rapidly evolve. Ships began to turn on each other as their neural networks developed in different directions. The perfect harmony of their fleet dissolved into chaos. But the true genius of the human strategy wasn't in the immediate battle. It was in what would happen afterward. The surviving Vorax ships would return to their empire change, forcing their entire civilization to adapt to new biological paradigms. They had engineered themselves for stability, but humanity was introducing the chaos of natural selection. Meridian observers are reporting similar breakdowns across Vorax territory, Chen announced. Their entire command structure is destabilizing as different sectors evolve in different directions. Maya watched as the mighty Vorax fleet retreated once again, but this time they left with more than physical damage. They left carrying the seeds of change, their perfect biological systems now infected with something they had engineered out of their society generations ago: the need to adapt. The Meridian representatives aboard the Thermopyla were stunned. "You didn't just defeat them," their leader observed. "You're forcing them to change their entire way of life." "That's what humans do," Maya replied. "We don't just survive challenges. We learn from them and grow stronger. Now the Vorax will have to learn to do the same, or they'll tear themselves apart trying to maintain their perfect stability in an imperfect universe." The war wasn't over, but its nature had fundamentally changed. The Vorax could no longer rely on their biological superiority. They would have to adapt, to learn, to become something new. And in doing so, they would understand what humanity had known all along: that true strength comes not from perfection, but from the ability to change and grow stronger from every challenge. As reports came in from across the galaxy of Vorax forces in disarray, Maya thought about Earth and its harsh lessons. Their homeworld had taught humanity that survival wasn't about being the strongest or the most perfect. It was about being able to adapt to anything the universe threw at you. Now the Vorax would learn that lesson too, whether they wanted to or not. 1 year after the Battle of the Centauri sector, the Great Hall of the Meridian High Council hosted an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from 30 spacefaring species had come to witness the signing of the Galactic Concordat. Among them stood both Meridian crystalline forms and, most surprisingly, several Vorax delegates, their biological structures showing clear signs of divergent evolution. Admiral Sarah Chen and Captain Maya Rodriguez represented Earth at the proceedings. The hall's architecture was a stunning blend of Meridian crystal engineering and human-inspired reinforcement, symbolic of the new era of cooperation their victory had ushered in. "The galaxy has changed," the Meridian High Speaker began, their crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns, not through conquest or domination, but through adaptation and growth. "We gather here not just to celebrate peace, but to acknowledge a fundamental shift in our understanding of strength." The Vorax delegation stirred at these words. Their once uniform appearance now showed remarkable diversity. Some had adapted to high-gravity environments. Others had developed redundant systems similar to Earth life. Their forced evolution had transformed them from conquerors into something far more interesting: survivors. "We were wrong," the lead Vorax delegate addressed the assembly, their bioluminescent patterns pulsing with humility. "We thought biological perfection was the pinnacle of evolution. The human showed us that perfection is stagnation, and true strength lies in the ability to change. Maya watched from her position on the council floor as the delegate continued. The Vorax Empire had fractured into multiple subspecies, each adapting to their new circumstances in unique ways. But instead of weakening them, this diversity had made them stronger, more resilient, more like humans. The term Deathworlder was once used with fear. Admiral Chen spoke next, her voice carrying across the hall. But Earth's harsh conditions gave humanity a gift, the understanding that life isn't about being perfect, it's about being adaptable. This knowledge saved not just the Meridians, but ultimately the Vorax themselves. The impact of human intervention had rippled throughout galactic society. Species that had once feared Earth's harsh environment now sent observers to study how life there had evolved. The Meridians had already begun incorporating human-inspired redundancies into their crystal matrices, making their civilization more resilient than ever before. Our victory wasn't just military, Maya reflected later, standing at a viewport overlooking the crystalline spires of the Meridian capital. We didn't just save one species from extinction, we changed how the galaxy understands survival itself. Commander Chen joined her at the viewport. The Meridian scientists are calling it the human revolution, the idea that strength comes from adaptability rather than perfection. They're saying it's the biggest shift in galactic thinking since the discovery of faster-than-light travel. The evidence was everywhere. The Galactic Concordat wasn't just a peace treaty. It was a framework for sharing knowledge about adaptation and survival. Species that had once isolated themselves in carefully controlled environments were now exploring, learning, growing stronger through challenge rather than avoiding it. We've received another dozen requests for human advisors, Chen reported. Everyone wants to understand how we think, how we solve problems. They're calling Earth the crucible of innovation now. Maya smiled, remembering the desperate message that had started it all. They called us Deathworlders because they didn't understand. Earth isn't a death world. It's a world that teaches the value of change, of adaptation, of never giving up no matter how impossible the odds seem. The Vorax had learned this lesson the hard way, but they had learned it well. Their civilization was rebuilding itself, not around the idea of biological perfection, but around the principle of continuous adaptation. They had become something their ancestors wouldn't recognize, and they were stronger for it. As the ceremonies concluded and the delegates prepared to return to their homes, Maya received one final transmission. It was from a young Vorax adaptation specialist, their message filled with an enthusiasm that would have been unthinkable in their species a year ago. We finally understand what you've been trying to teach us. Life isn't about being the strongest or the most perfect. It's about being able to look at impossible odds and say, we'll find a way. Thank you for showing us that there's strength in change, in imperfection, in the constant struggle to adapt and overcome. We thought we were the apex of evolution, but you showed us that evolution never has an apex. It's an endless journey of growth and change. Maya saved the message, knowing it would be studied by future generations. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors, but as teachers. They had shown the galaxy that true strength comes not from avoiding challenges, but from facing them head-on and growing stronger in the process. The legacy of the Deathworlders would echo through the cosmos for generations to come, not as a testament to humanity's military might, but as a reminder that in an infinite universe, the ability to adapt and overcome is the greatest strength of all.